Resident Evil, you have some great stuff, and I will love you forever. But this shit, Umbrella Corps, is unforgivable. This is unacceptable. This is a fucking abomination to the Resident Evil name. The fact Capcom greenlit this bullshit and put the least amount of effort into giving us a game like this. And the fact that I have to pay for it. I paid $8 for it, which isn't a lot of money. But the fact that it still stripped my wallet, like this game shouldn't cost $8. This game should be a free-to-play game. That's what this feels like. This has the most minimal effort put into it. I'm not sure if just Capcom hated its fans at the time, or there was an employee that wanted to fuck over the manager or the supervisor of this project. I don't know what the reason is. Capcom has given us some of the best Resident Evil stuff. And then they come out with this bullshit. This isn't their first time attempting to do a Resident Evil multiplayer game. They tried that with Outbreak Fire 1 and 2. They recently tried it with the Resident Evil 3 remake. They haven't quite cracked the code on a Resident Evil multiplayer. I think Resident Evil works just fine as a single player. And with this video, I'm going to be getting into everything that is wrong with Umbrella Corps. And trust me, there's a long list here. Starting off with my first point, this isn't the most offensive point, but this thing frustrates me. There's a point when you drop into the village from Resident Evil 4. It's a great environment. It's an iconic environment from Resident Evil 4. And the insta-kill during this part of the game is fucking abysmal. You drop from, maybe a 2-story building, and guess what? Insta-kill! A zombie comes running at you, and guess what? Insta-kill! You die in so many ridiculous goddamn ways. And you die so often in the game as well because of this shitty insta-kill environment. The fucking creatures with the fucking, long goddamn heads. I don't know what they're called. I swear to God, it's one shot. They stab you once, or they hit you once, and you're fucking dead. You're dead. It's game over. There's 2 enemies in this game that are really frustrating. Those long-haired motherfuckers. And second, those birds. You can't even shoot the goddamn birds. When they're attacking you, you're fucking firing your gun left and right. You cannot shoot the goddamn fucking birds unless you go into a goddamn house or you go into undercover, which helps you, but by the time you get in there, you're dead. Because this bird just keeps coming at you and at you and at you and at you. The birds, they can't die. They can't die. I'm losing my shit here a lot because I'm a passionate Resident Evil fan. I love these games and I would love to see a great Resident Evil multiplayer. I really would. But the fact that, day one of this game releasing, it was full price. They charge people a goddamn full price on a game like fucking Fortnite. Out of all games, is free. It's unacceptable. What this game is, alright, is Umbrella Corps is basically just Resident Evil Mercenaries 3D for the 3DS. It's the exact same goddamn game, but you want to know what the big difference is between those two? I actually had fun with Resident Evil Mercenaries because I got to play as Leon, I got to play as Chris Redfield. It actually felt like a Resident Evil game. This feels like a Call of Duty ripoff. There's nothing in this, minus some of the environments in the game and some of the enemies That's it. 2 minor things. That is not enough to call this a goddamn Resident Evil game. Oh. I don't do rant videos. I don't want to come on camera and rant about a movie or a game. That's just not me. I want to look for the best things in entertainment. I wanted to literally make this video and say Umbrella Corps is the best Resident Evil game I've played. Oh, it is, it certainly isn't. It certainly isn't. But you die in the most ridiculous ways. There's certain cheats you can do in game, like there's an area in the village where you can go upstairs and it kind of blocks the zombies from kind of coming near you. But then for other enemies, it doesn't apply to them. I don't get what the system of this game is. System is key to a good game. There's a system around everything. The system to this game is like they literally brought in a 2-year-old to design their game, to play around with a keyboard and be like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm just going to type and change. Like, that's what this game feels like. It feels like it was directed by a 2-year-old. Oh, okay. Okay, I have to take a couple of deep breaths here because this game is really getting to me. But I think the most offensive thing about Umbrella Corps for me is the fucking single player mode. The experiment. What the fuck? What the fuck, man? Wow. Okay. A single player, is a great experience. A single player, is a story with a character you are seeing from beginning to end, and a story and a single player. A story should have a beginning, middle, and end. This game completely chucks all that shit in the fucking bin. Because here's how the experiment goes. It's mission-based. Similar to Mercenaries. And what you're doing is you're collecting DNA samples. Mission 1, collect DNA samples. Mission 2, collect DNA samples. Mission 3, collect DNA samples. And on and on and on and on. That's it. You're just collecting DNA samples. And occasionally they'll drop a new enemy on you. But that's it. Ugh. There is no goddamn single player campaign here. There is no single player campaign here. There's letters and notes on the loading screen. You can't even collect it in game. And basically, this shit's pointless. It's basically just, someone named Abraham just writing, zombies are heading my way, help me protect myself. Or it's dumb shit like this. What does that do to the law? That doesn't do shit. Like, those letters, I could write a better letter than that. I think my audience could write a better letter than the actual notes that are in this goddamn fucking game. It's just this. I don't know. I have no idea what happened. Somebody would have had to piss off the creator of Capcom. It's the only way it makes sense to me. The creator, he would have been drunk or high, and then somebody approached him at a party one night when he was out of it and was like, that's a great idea. I'm going to make that. I wouldn't even say Resident Evil Mercenaries is a great game. But most importantly, alright? Resident Evil Mercenaries, it's a fucking Resident Evil game. Umbrella Corps. What's in here? That's Resident Evil. Seriously, there's nothing in here. Minus the name Umbrella Corps. Minus the name Umbrella showing up in the background. Minus the enemies. That's it. There's no characters from the Resident Evil universe that show up in this goddamn game. And the combat mechanics. Shooting is probably the one positive. I did not mind the shooting in this game. Sometimes it can be irritating, but I had fun blasting down zombies. That's the one positive I can say about this game. But like your fucking, what is it? I don't know what it is. Like the whole knife mechanic. What even is that? I have no idea what that goddamn is, and that is almost useless in this game. Because you have to time your attacks with that. Because if your enemy moves, then